Welcome back to Amy Kardashian and the Expert Show. This is part two of the show we're having here with a wonderful educator, Marilyn House. We were talking about how to identify grooming behavior and prevent child sexual abuse. And she have shared earlier about her story. Maybe we could recap on that. And it's a lot of good insights to prevent sexual abuse happening. Hopefully never happen to anyone, but it might be happening to your children or your cousins or someone you know, and how you could recognize that. So how can we help them not to go through this horrible experience? So welcome back, Marilyn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And it is very prevalent. That's the trouble. It's a very, very high percentage crime. This is not, 1 in 20 children are reporting sexual abuse. But the impact of the abuse is the same. The trauma, if I give you this ball of Play-Doh here, right? Mm-hmm. If that's a baby's brain, when they're in trauma, so to be abused, to be verbally abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, neglected, sexually abused, all that causes trauma in the child. Even a terrible situation, say for the children who lost their parents or somebody in Las Vegas, that awful situation, your cortisol spikes. And in a young brain, I'm trying to get it in the screen, in a young brain, the cortisol spikes and it picks away. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, we were seeing it okay.
It picks away, the cortisol spikes, and it picks away at the healthy brain cells, and it recodes the brain, and it just changes the shape of the brain and the landscape of the brain, and that's what causes your disturbed behaviors. So maybe they start school at 5 years old, already antisocial, very difficult. And I say three things to people. You always need to be asking why. Why does that child behave like that? Why
What's
am
going
I feeling?
on? Yeah. Pay attention. Pay
why.
attention.
Negative behaviors always have negative reasons why. The second thing I always say is absolutely respect your gut instinct. And the third thing is be the child. If you were being abused physically, verbally, whatever, and you were 3-4 years old, how would that feel if you were the child and you're walking around with this heavy weight of depression and hiding it all? Because you see, the reason people don't tell, people always say to me, why don't people tell? Well, if I take my teddy here, you've got all these whispers. It's like bullying going on, you're dirty. You won't be believed. Shh, mummy will die. Only I love you like this. You're special. And this is for sexual abuse and the grooming. You didn't say no. And to someone like this is very...
You're part of the problem. Basically, they give them to make them feel like you didn't say no, or make them feel guilty.
You're so pretty. You took the presents. You wanted to come out on the trips. Everything loaded back on the child. So in the end, the child is completely filled with toxic shame and fear. You're 7 years old and you've been told your mummy is going to die. I mean, that's just dreadful.
How could we blame the child to speak up about this? They're the child. They're the one being abused. And we're not necessarily blaming the family, the parents, but what we're saying is that there is a solution here and we have to pay attention to. So it's nobody's fault. It's not the parents' fault. It wasn't your fault that happened. No. But if you can grab the education and have educate yourself about it, you could have probably caught it long time ago if that's what you knew, right? So if you know and you didn't do something about it, then it's different. So the parents are victim as well. In my opinion, the parents are victim until they know about it. So
yes, I get quite irritated, especially these days, because the training we do. I actually won an award a month ago for Most Inspirational Woman of 2017.
Nice.
the training program I've put together and the impact it has. But there's lots of other things that teachers should be asking about children. You know, the language difficulties. It's this part of the brain, the frontal lobar part of the brain, is what's damaged. So children with stammers, children who haven't got the ability, maybe they're very clever in other subjects, but their vocabulary, their written word isn't so good. You know, 91% of children who are abused, it impacts their academic ability. Children that are very, very puny and frail, I don't mean skinny, but when the children are living through a trauma, the brain closes down and it sort of forgets to grow the body. Now, one of my boys, he was 6 inches shorter than his brother, who had less abuse. The other boy got quite a lot of abuse.
Wow.
And we couldn't work out why he was 6-7 inches shorter. And then when it went to court, when he went to university, he grew 7 or 8 inches. He's now really tall. And once the pressure and the tension and the trauma had gone, the brain relaxed and he then grew. You know, a lot of labeling. We like our labels in England, you know, ADHD, attention deficit, hyper, you know.
Thank you for that. Probably something totally different.
It could well be, and can sometimes
Probably,
be
yeah, could be.
post-traumatic stress disorder. And sometimes we've had several cases that have come our way where it wasn't ADHD. The child was actually being abused in some way, and it was the trauma that was coming out in those negative behaviors. And those are the things you have to look at. Why is that child behaving like it? And you have to ask the questions. You know, happy children don't bully. So why are they bullying? And the whole thing about, if you've ever been bullied, I was bullied when I was a little girl, you know. I was bullied when I was 5, and I'm still terrified of the name Hillary, because this girl that bullied me was Hillary. And so you don't forget all those things that happen in those early years. But, you know, listening to what the children are saying, this is a game. If we go back to sexual abuse, this is a game. It's our little game that we're going to play against mummy and daddy. You know, what little child doesn't want to play a game with another adult? Yeah. And
they
all
want their
those
attention.
things, exactly. All those little games. So even things that they will make up a game. So when the sexual abuse is taking place, instead of using graphic names of your body parts, I've been in situations in early years schools where we had a little boy whose behaviour had become very negative, and he started talking about his cousin coming round and playing Thomas the Tank Engine with him. I don't know if you're familiar with that in America, are you? Thomas the Tank Engine? Yeah. We played the game. The tunnel was not what we thought, and neither was the train. Stretch our imagination. And then there was another little girl who, again, behaviour had changed. Very sweet little poppet, cute little thing. And she started banging her head and being really objectionable and wetting her pants. And it came out that she was talking about her daddy putting his hanky in her pocket. And all these things that are displayed in plain sight that look innocent.
Yeah, but they're not.
Hidden message.
Okay. So what I'm going to do when we come back, I want to ask you a very important question. How do we, as an adult, reach out to those kids who feel so guilty, who doesn't feel like they could speak up because they feel ashamed, they feel they are part of what they're doing, it's a dirty thing they're doing? How can we let them feel comfortable and talking to us and explaining and opening up? So when we come back, we are going to talk about that.
Right.
Hi, I'm Jamie Lee Metz, CEO and founder of Skin Fitness here in Las Vegas. We've been serving Las Vegas for over 17 years. We're proud to announce we just won 2017 Spa of the Year by Image International. That's the skincare company of the Miss Universe pageant. We offer exclusive treatments like our Time Eraser facial, which uses multiple modalities and literally erases time. Our Pore Purge, which is the ultimate in hygiene. And our Fire and Ice facial, which literally removes and soothes the skin at the same time. Come see us at our new location here in Village Square. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Welcome back to Amy Kardashian and the Expert Show. This show is really, 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 I mean, every show I have is very important because all of the experts share their knowledge and wisdom to help us see our life in different perspective, have a better life. And this particular segment right now, it's very important. It's very close to my heart because it's about child abuse. And we are, as adults, we want to protect our children, grandchildren, and every child in the world. They deserve to be protected. So this is very important segment and very, very important topic. And I have Marilyn here with me. Welcome back, Marilyn. I have a question for you. We know that the child, as you said, the child feel guilty, feel they're part of the problem, feel that they give in to this, and they're part of the shame. So how parents or grandparents or even siblings or whatever, every adult, they need to know and reach out to this child and say, I want to help you. Can you talk to me? How could we bring it out of them?
Well, I think, to be honest, you have to start at a very young age. In the same way, when you cross the road, you don't start teaching a child to cross the road when they're 5. From the moment they can walk, you say, stop, look, cross the road, hold my hand. Same with swimming, anything that could be a danger activity. Don't touch that, that's hot. We start at a very young age, but with this, we just don't seem to want to. And I think it's really important that we start having these gentle conversations about the private parts that are nobody must touch. See, my son said to me, Mum, you told us to say no, but we don't know when we said yes. And that's the trouble. This whole thing of grooming is like a courtship. It's very gentle. It's very slow. It's like watching a period drama going back to the 1800s. It's very slow. But you've got to start having those conversations.
So what you're saying, we need to groom them in our own way instead of somebody else groom them in their way.
Exactly.
Is that right? So we need to groom them.
Yes.
Now, the other question is this, because we have only 5 minutes left.
Yes.
My question is this. Okay, we understand we need to groom them. This is our responsibility.
Good grooming. Good
grooming, that's right. We need to groom them into understanding not to allow someone to do something like that. But how about if for some reason we missed that and they weren't groomed that way, the good grooming, and they were somehow been abused and they don't want to talk about it? How could we bring them out to talk about it?
You just have to keep on gently talking, and it is honestly like reeling something in. It's building up that trust, because this child would have been told that Mummy doesn't love them, you won't be believed,
you're doing the wrong thing.
And you have to like override those messages that the child would have been told, and you have to say, is there something wrong? Has somebody said things to you like, you won't be believed, or Mummy will die, or something like that? That's not.
So you have to build the trust back and always have that communication.
You have to rebuild the trust. And you can't rush it. I think sometimes as well, when people have disclosed, very often on our training, somebody will say to me, I was that teddy bear. And it's sort of easier than to say, I've been abused. So like, do you want to tell the teddy? Now, when I was a little girl, we had a dog, and I used to take my dog down the garden and tell my dog all my problems. But sometimes a third thing like that, like a teddy bear, like play therapy. Yes. What are they drawing? What are they playing? How are they playing? Has that changed? Just watching and having those gentle conversations and building up that trust that they wouldn't be in trouble. Nothing nasty will happen. You must tell us, must tell me, and you'll be okay, and we'll work it through together, and you mustn't be afraid, because this is what this child would have been told. They would have been frightened frightened to tell because of what might happen to mummy and the family, and this toxic shame of you're dirty, all that stuff, all those messages that we know these people would have told a child, we have to override and say you're not these things. You can always come and talk to me. I think it might take you 3 months or so, but because that trust has been completely broken by this person, and that's the whole idea, that they break the trust and they'll work on the couple as well to be at odds with each other. The whole purpose of here is divide and rule so they can take control.
So basically, you're saying don't make them afraid of you to tell you.
Right.
So come to them and say, okay, you're not behaving correctly. Is there something you're hiding from me? And if you're hiding from me, I will not yell at you. I will not, tell, you're not in trouble, basically.
That's right. And
you're not going to be in trouble. You can
on
tell
our
me.
website.
And I will not yell at you.
We've got a lot of parental resources on our website. If people want to email me, I've drawn up a document of different things that you can access that are year specific. So if you have a child of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, where you can go to help. It's difficult for parents, I think, when I was bringing up my children, it was stranger danger. Don't talk to anyone in the park, and don't touch puppies, don't take sweets. And we're now building a course. We're creating a course at Enough Abuse UK for helping young mums. How do you tell a 3-year-old about grooming without them being frightened? And I think there's a gap in the market there that we're working on, because it's a new phenomena for young mums. How am I going to tell my 2-year-old? How am I going to do it? Where do I start?
Absolutely.
And they do need their hand held a bit with this, and so we're working on that as well now.
Nice.
And we're making great impact. And
I can't thank you enough for being on my show and educating people and coming out and really not taking it personally. Well, I didn't protect my kids, and now I can't talk about it because I'm embarrassed. So it takes a courage for someone like you to come out and say, okay, it did happen to me. I'm going to make sure that I prevent every other child to happen to anybody else. And that takes a lot of courage. So I really admire you for coming out and talking about this. Where people can reach you, please, really quick, can you tell us?
It's at www.ea-uk.org. So ea-uk.org. And I can send you any literature, anybody that emails me, I can send them anything that could help them. You don't want to be me, and you don't want it to be your child.
Absolutely.
And please face up to reality. This is a very, very common crime. Very common, and you don't want it to happen to your family.
Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate coming in all the way. It's the middle of the night right now in England. But you made it happen because you're passionate about what you're teaching. I appreciate you, and I salute you for what you're doing. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks for your time. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
And for all of you, stay tuned. I'll be right back with my next guest. I didn't focus on my weaknesses. I focused on my strength, and I was able not only to lead myself, I was able to lead my team into success. Many people ask me, what do you mean by awakening the powerful leader within you? I have been leading myself and others for years. Well, I tell them, of course you have, but did you know that you have way more power than you can ever imagine? See, you and I, we were born with the capability to lead ourselves to live our purpose. Then life's challenges and obstacles come along and buries our capabilities. How do I know that? I know it because life happened to me. My question to you today is this. What are you
creating.
Now, I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was thinking I'm gonna download something.